This is the chapter 5 telecom product modeling, and we will be talking about relationships and dependencies between products, technical or commercial. Well, we have commercial relationships and technical relationships that we can just set up between the product offerings and product specifications. In addition to this, I'll be talking about the characteristics mapping, which is kind of a relation, just to simplify the provisioning or make product more flexible so that you don't create multiple product offerings, or you can manage the size of your catalog in an easier way. What are the commercial relationships? So we can have relationships formed at the product offering level. There is a product offering category level relationship that I do recommend. It's not proposed, it's not kind of part of the standard put by TM Forum, but building product offering level relationships one-to-one is hard, because if you think you will have thousands of products, it's hard to manage. So that's why I'm just personally recommending having category level relationships as well, which can simplify the life. What kind of commercial relationship can we build or can we form? Well, you can have add-on, upgrades, downgrade, cross-sell kind of relationships, all kind of commercial relations that you can imagine, like swap, etc. You can just build using the commercial relationship. This is usually used in the runtime, is using the during the product order capture. For example, the add-on relationship. This is between a main product and the add-on of those main products. Well, where whenever you sell a main product, you want to show what are the type of add-ons you can have. For example, an insurance package with a device, or a care package with a device, or the accessories of the device can have an add-on relationship. Here, the idea is that the main product is mandatory to be able to buy the add-on. The add-on just increase the cross-sell opportunities. Well, as I was telling, the relationships can be between product offerings in a way that you use the relationship entity, where the add-on can be pointing to a main product, just claiming on the relation that it's the add-on of that product offering. The other type of add-on relationship can be built is through a bundle. So in the bundle, there are cardinality properties where you can just restrict the number of the product offering that can be purchased along with the bundle. So inside the bundle, if the cardinality of any product offering is 0 or greater, which means that you can choose a 0 product offering when you purchase the bundle. This means an optional product offering. Usually it is used for the add-ons that are part of the bundle, but optionally can be selected by the customer or not, because the main products in a bundle are at least having cardinality 1 or more, meaning that during the purchase you must select or you must include that product offering inside the bundle. So therefore, add-ons can be built by using relationship between the product offerings through the add-on relationship, or through the bundle, where the product offering inside the bundle can have cardinality 0 or more, which means optional product offering. Of course, when you want to sell an add-on, you should be just showing the possible add-ons as well to the customer. Add-on products are displayed when a main product is already selected, or along with the main product. It depends on the front-end design. where you show the main products as soon as they are selected. You can show the add-ons that are compatible or that are sellable along with the main products. The user journey needs to just do the browsing for these kind of add-on product offerings to display them in a suitable way to just attract the customer so that it's purchased together. The other commercial relationship are upgrades, downgrade, or cross-sell kind of relationship. Well, of course, you can define different type of relationship, commercial relationship between the product offerings, as long as you just have a way to show them on a front end or through the channel applications that these are related product offerings. You can have even recommendation relationship where in a hard-coded way you can show the recommended products along with the main product. Of course, building these relationship is part of modeling or the commercial modeling. So somebody needs to set this relationship, usually the product modeler. And whenever you just build these relationship, as somebody, a customer will be upgrading or downgrading existing product, it should be possible to swap one product and switch to the other one using the same services and resources. So therefore, the product offerings that you relate to each other that can be swapped through upgrade, downgrade, or cross-sell should be swappable, should be having the same type of services so that you don't stop a service and you start a new one, or remove the resource and then assign a new one. So you need to be able to reuse the existing services and resources of the old product that is being swapped out. Coming to the technical relationships, these are the product specification level relationships or even below product specifications. They're used to indicate dependencies or provisioning behavior or compatibility constraints. For example, in the dependency, whenever a product needs another one to be able to function, like the fixed line internet connection will require a modem, or mobile line product will require a SIM and an MSISTN, or a data usage package requires a data network service. So that requires relationship is built between the product specifications of different type of products to just give that dependency functionality. Another type of relationship is used for impacting or organizing the provisioning behavior. For example, a product specification restricts to a service specification or uses a resource specification, so that whenever the order manager, product order manager is executing or doing the fulfillment, it can first create a service order or a resource order for the restricted services or used resources can be provisioned before the product is provisioned to the system. So these are impacting the provisioning behavior, and of course is shown part of the product model. And compatibility constraints, where a product is excluded. So this excluded name is just it depends on it's not a standard definition, but as the name implies, if a product spec doesn't work with another product spec in the same subscription or in the same line, you need to just mark these two entities are not compatible to each other through an excluded like relationship, just to show to the product configurator or to the order manager that when these two product specifications are in the same container, you should be complaining because these cannot be purchased or cannot work together because there are some compatibility issues. So these technical relationships are used for those purposes. Now let's go one by one on what are their meaning. Let's talk about the requires relationship. So the requires relationship is between the most of the times between product specifications. As you can see, a mobile line requires an eSIM or physical SIM, or a voicemail or user equipment, a voicemail requires a mobile line. So the relationship between these product specifications, all these green boxes are product specifications, all these product specifications that require another one gives a direction to the order manager on the order of provisioning these products. Voicemail requiring a mobile line, meaning that mobile line should be provisioned before the voicemail product specification is provisioned. Similarly, a mobile line requiring physical SIM or an eSIM means that whatever is chosen by during the order capture, a mobile line will be provisioned after a physical SIM or an eSIM is provisioned to the system. So naturally, this gives an order to the order fulfillment, which is building an order fulfillment plan. And at the top of this plan, you will see either an eSIM or physical SIM as per the requires relationship. And after one of these is provisioned, whatever is selected, a mobile line will be provisioned along with its services and resources, and then a voicemail will be provisioned to the system. Coming to the restricts relationship, so this one is built between the product specification and customer facing service specifications. For example, a product specification, VAS product specification, restricts to a network service CFS, which means that whenever the provisioning is happening, the order manager, the product order manager, as this is restricting to a service, will first create a service order to provision the network service, the CFSS, the VAS service, and then once this service order is completed, of course, the network service CFS will be just internally calling or creating other service orders as well. But when the entire service tree is provisioned, then the control will go back to the product order manager, which will be provisioning the VAS service. So in that sense, the restricts relationship is used to indicate that to the product order manager that a service order should be created first before completing the provisioning of the VAS, and then it will be provisioning the VAS product spec into product inventory, because the product inventory entity, which is the product, will have a reference to the instantiated service. That's why this service should be completed before. That's the reason a restrict relationship is used. Similarly, vanity lines restricting to a network service CFS, the vanity lines service will similarly expect the service order completed before. As you can just see the big picture, like product specifications depending or requiring another product spec gives the order of provisioning to a product order manager between the products, and within the product a restrict relationship just implies that a service order should be created before completing that product order. The users relationship is between the resource facing services and the resource specifications. Similarly, it can be used between product specification to the resource specification. So it's basically a relationship type built towards a resource specification, whether this is a RFS or a product specification. Of course, a network service, RFS, which is the resource facing service, will be using a resource to be able to expose that RFS service. And similarly, a product specification requiring or using a resource specification, by the way, it's not on the diagram, a product spec requiring or using a resource specification will give a directive to the product order manager that this resource order should be created first before completing the product order fulfillment. Is realized by is used between the CFS and RFS services or between the services because an customer facing service is realized by a service that is exposed by a resource, like the resource is exposing services and the customer facing service being realized by these services is the relationship type used in between the CFS and RFS relationship. Again, this is giving an order or giving a directive to the service order manager in this case, because, for example, the voicemail network service, before the provisioning of that service is completed, the service order manager will create another service order for the RFS service. It will go again to the service order manager as a separate order. It will be first completed, so the resource that is being provisioned will be exposing or configured that resource facing service, and then the service order manager that is dealing with the CFS will complete the order by provisioning the service in the service inventory and referencing the RFS service instance. So every relationship between the same layers entities is giving an order, indicating an order of provisioning of that level entities, and every downward relationship is just giving a further description about within the provisioning of the topmost entity, within the provisioning fulfillment flow, what are the sub-entities that needs to be created before the topmost entity is completed. So in that sense, is realized by relationship is used to indicate that dependency. Now let's talk about the characteristics mapping, which is independent of the entity or this kind of service or resource entity relationship. These are relationship created or mappings created between the characteristics of any entity. So this is again from TM Forum document from GB 922. There is the left hand side, the green part is a product catalog view, and the right hand side is a service catalog view. Of course, the service specification and product specifications are defined in their respective catalogs with the characteristics. The product specification is more or closer to the end user, where the characteristics or the values are more human readable or understandable. The right hand side, the service and resource catalogs are more technical, people understandable, more technical, let's say. For example, here a product basic mailbox product specification exposing a mailbox size characteristics with two possible values like basic and high volume is more understandable by end users. And the mail address is these two characteristics. One of them has characteristic values, the other one doesn't have any value because there are no options to be selected. These are fields to be filled in manually. Like in a mail address, you provide the address and you don't select an existing address. Whereas in a mailbox size, you have basic and high volume options that you need to select as an end user. So these values are mapped to service specification characteristic values. If you look at to the mailbox size, translates to mailbox size characteristics of the CFSS, means that whatever value is selected for this mailbox size during the order capture will be translated or will be passed to the mailbox size characteristics of a CFSS. So during the provisioning time, the product order manager, before it creates a service order, gets the mailbox size characteristics and the values selected, the whatever option is selected, say basic is selected in the incoming order, so maps the characteristics of the product spec to the service spec characteristics and passes the value basic or just selects the corresponding one like 10 MO inside the mailbox size characteristics of the service specification and creates the service order with the mailbox size characteristics and 10 MO value. So this is kind of mapping that is used between different levels of the catalog so that the order manager can pass this value, human readable value, to a technical value during the provisioning time. So this relationship needs to be built when you just create your product model, and you need to provide those relationship between characteristics and the values if there are value options defined here. For the ones that don't have any value option, because this is a free field that you need to enter, in that case the characteristics are mapped, and since there is no option to be mapped, you don't map the options, you simply pass that information as is, as entered by the end user or the system. If you noticed here, the service specification mailbox size characteristics has 3 options, but only 2 options are used by the product specification, which means that there is no third option selectable by any end user. This option will not be used in this configuration, but it can be used in another product or a product specification that is mapped to the same service catalog as well. As you can imagine, like the service specifications are reusable service definitions across multiple product specifications. So this one product basic mailbox doesn't support the third option, but there may be another product specification supporting or having the third option, that large, very high volume as well. Mapping direction is not part of the TM forums definition, because if you noticed here, translates to or basic to 10 MO relationship is without any direction. But we do know that in some cases those information are selected by during the order capture, like a data package quota or allowance. 10 gigs or 15 gigs is selected by the channel application or an end user. In that case, that information needs to be passed to the CFSS level, whether this is a mapped value or a free value where you overwrite or select. But in some cases where you don't have any value selected by the order capture, because these values are entered when you provision the resource or when you really select the resource. As you can imagine, the SIM cards during the order capture, you don't just select one of them. You simply, whenever you fulfill the order, you just send an work order to a warehouse staff where they scan one of the available SIM cards, and the value is passed from down to the top during the provisioning time. That's why write or read directions are important extensions that you need to make when you deal with characteristics mapping relationship. And the behavior, the mapping behavior as well is important, because in some cases you override a value. So an MSI SDN selected by a customer and reserved by a customer is passed as a value. It's not an option to select, otherwise you will end up with millions of different options to be selecting between. So you just fill in this value, and during the provisioning time, this value is overriding the value field of the different resources MSI SDN field. In some cases, you override. In other cases, there is nothing to override, but you select the high value selects the 10 gigs, and the low value selects the 2 gigs. So that's why you need to define first the direction of the mapping and the behavior of the mapping, whether it overrides or it selects one of the existing options. This is the end of this chapter. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for listening, watching. Thanks.